Hello guys and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm here with Kowloon Generic Romance episode number 6 reaction. Okay, the previous episode, majority of the episode was focused on Yame, and we get to see her past, what her, past life was like, why she's so hell-bent on getting away from her past and becoming a new her. It was because her mother literally made her as she was and how she wanted her to be. She was a very popular model, I think, yeah. And she wanted her to go in the same path and literally made her into a copy of her. So Yame had nothing in her own life that she could call that is like of her own personal preference. It's just how her mother made it to be. So at one point she got sick of it, she ran away, got a plastic surgery, and now she is so much, like she wants to be a new person. But in the end we can see she was kind of struggling, and she was actively trying to get away from her past, which kind of showed that she's still shackled by it. But Reiko came in and told her that, like, you can like what you like, you don't have to get away from your past, because, like, if you like something from your past, it's fine. Like, this new you, is not a fake one. You're not acting to be something. Like, yeah. So in the end, like, Yame was able to come into terms with her own preference and what she loved and what she did not. She will not run away from her past, even if she likes something, like, just because it was part of her past. So yeah, she's a lot more accustomed to, like, like, she's a lot better now. So yeah, that was majority of the episode. The ending part kind of gave us a little bit of a shock, where we saw, apparently, when Gwen was coming back to Kowloon, turns out it's a completely broken down city. Like, it's like an abandoned, like, type of a city, I think. Now there's a lot of question that pops up from here. What I thought was that it is based on perception. People in Kowloon looks at Kowloon like this, but people from outside Kowloon, I think, for them the reality is like Kowloon is like a destroyed place. Like, that's what I thought. So yeah, let's see what happens. Let us begin. I'll be putting the subtitles and the timer here. Sync it to whichever is your preference, and let's begin. Okay, here's the countdown. Three, two, one, go. Oh yeah, the father called him. Oh, well, right, that's his father. Janitor and the Zirconian project. Hmm. Vessels for Orthodox. The Oh my gosh, talking about Gwen, right? Bruh. Okay, he had like a transparent glove because he's germaphobe, right? That's why. Okay, so a lot of these things are being done by their family. What happened? Oh yeah. Oh, he left. What? No, what happened? No, he's still. Oh, he. Hey. Right. Revenge. Uh, oh boy. Damn. Right. Uh, just bite him? Right. His tongue is just. Right. Hmm. No, we're back in the past again. Uh-huh. Wow, that's true. But wait a minute. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, wants to keep it a. Yeah, I see. Damn. That's crazy because they did get engaged, which means she changed her mind later. Second Kowloon was demolished. Alright, here we go. Hmm. What about you? What? Oh, that. I think are they trying to imply that he's trying to? No, he already has a place to live, right? Wait a minute. Hmm. Not going to end, nor will it continue. Hmm. Okay, so I'm getting the feeling, like the whole zirconian like thing that they're talking about, project or whatever. Was she one of the test subjects or something, and she knew about it herself? That's why she said something about uh, my my story will not end or it won't continue. Neither will it continue. Okay, I don't know. Like, also, like I said, the fact that she had this type of an outlook on life and she actually got engaged to Kudo makes me think by the end of it she changed her mind, because she literally said that I would rather keep my life as it is now than expect something from the future and then get disappointed. So this is the best time to stop. So then she got engaged. Like that is like the complete opposite for the way she lives his life, right? So something must have happened that made her change her mind completely. I don't know. You know what? Let's continue watching it. Mao. Wait, is this Gwen, right? Yeah. Oh yeah. This. Yeah. That was a mistake on his part. Right. She realizes, right? This is a different person. Okay, here we go. Seems that way. Yeah, they call him Zirconian because he's a fake. But what makes you real and make? How can you make that decision, right? Yeah, yeah, like no, it's pretty obvious. Yeah, and Kudo also told her. Yeah, well, that's obvious. It's what happened. Okay, yeah, like cause of the death of the. Oh my god. Hmm. That. You're right. Yeah. Okay. Can I? Can we please get the answer of what happened to Reiko? Oh god, we won't get the answer today. Yeah, that is true. She doesn't have a. Okay, interesting. Oh, because she came in from the outside, right? Is that why? Ah, that's why. She doesn't have a. Wow, she doesn't care. Yeah. Yep. Oh, she actually. I thought that was just a little bit of a symbolism. Oh my god, that was real. True, everyone has a second version here. Interesting. Hmm. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, a lot of them. I was going to say, he doesn't he have he's the only exceptional one. Yeah, they still haven't met this guy, like this version. Oh, what? Okay. Wow. Yeah. Mm. Hmm. You know what? Another thing. I'll talk about this later. Even though this Reiko and that Reiko is so different, and I feel like that Reiko and this Reiko is also very same. I'll talk about this later. Hmm. Oh, what? Wait, really? Oh, yeah, the whole zirconia. Oh no, wait, that's what he's talking about. Hmm. Oh, who is this? Yulong. Yeah, I guess. Your intention, not heavy no more. Okay. Yeah, they're talking about revenge. Gwen also said that. Interesting. Your dad one. Oh, I see. That is what's happening. And without. So, okay, that's what's happening. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, they replicate the second one. There you go. There you go. I see. Condition a reason why. I think he lived there until this. What? Who? Oh, there you go. Who don't? Yeah. Okay. Hmm. Geography. Hmm. Okay. Materialized illusion. Ah. Right. Hmm. Yeah. So you're seeing Kuno because you want to. Okay. I can understand that about Kudo, but Mew. Hmm. No, maybe it's a. Is it a condom? Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's an interesting hypothesis. All right. You know what? I think we've gotten the maximum answer in today's episode about a lot of stuff. What the? Is that Gwen? No. Oh, never mind. I thought he came in disguise or something. Bro. Hmm. So all these people living here are resonating with Kowloon. Hmm. That's funny. There's a lot of, yep. Damn. Taco noodles. Well, right. Oh no, here we go. This is gonna be interesting. Mm. Oh boy. Oi! What? Oh, is it because? Oh no. Wait. Oh, just a minute. Okay, that's it. Oh, you know what? This is again. I'm getting a weird feeling from Kudo. Something is weird about him. In the previous episode, I was talking about Kudo being a little bit of special because when he was dreaming, if you remember, like they were like he was having a nightmare. Both the day, like nights that he had nightmares had earthquakes, and I was like, that's a bit weird. But then now, after we got to know about the whole situation and of how people are resonating with Kulon and everything, I was like, okay, maybe that was just a coincidence. Again, as soon as Kujai said something like that, I'm pretty sure it's like something definitely snapped inside of Kudo, and like his emotions were probably in a very in disarray at that time. That's why he was like, oh no, don't go anywhere, and that I don't know. I feel like that is the reason why this whole explosion happened. Whatever happened here. So even though everyone else is resonating with Kudon, I feel like Kudo is something else, something different. Kudo is somehow special in this that maybe his feelings are like resonating with Kulon it in a bit higher rate. Maybe it's like a little bit too much like resonating with this Kulon. That's why whenever he gets like emotionally disturbed, Kulon also gets emotionally disturbed and something happens. Like it can easily be something like that. Like obviously everyone else is resonating with Kulon. That's why they're also looking at Kulon and recognizing Kulon as a proper city. But I feel like Kudo has a bigger role in it. And his resonation with Kulon is at a higher amount maybe from all the other people. That's why whenever he gets his emotions gets somehow like rattled, that like the result is seen in Kulon itself, like earthquakes. And then you know what, let's wait and see. I feel like we'll get more opportunities to properly confirm this if in the future again a scene like this happens where Kudo gets very emotionally disturbed and something happens in Kowloon, like maybe some explosion, earthquake, maybe something, some kind of change, I'll be confirmed that Kudo has a bigger role to play here. No, he's not like all the other people here who's resonating with Kowloon. He is one of the people who's definitely resonating with Kowloon, but he's resonating with it at such a high degree that his emotions are directly connected to Kowloon. And I wouldn't be surprised with that, because why? Because of Reiko and his affection for Reiko, and after Reiko died, how he is like, his affection with, like, this is the thing. Reiko loved Kowloon, like Kujirai Reiko B loved Kowloon, and at the beginning, obviously, Kudo didn't have that much of a, like, opinion about it, but then more and more he started spending time with him. He started appreciating, because like someone that you like, you appreciate what they like as well as time goes on. And then after he lost Reiko, the only thing that was left with him that was like memories of Reiko was Kowloon. So I feel like the rate at which he resonates with Kowloon is way higher than all the other people, and that is why whenever he gets disturbed, something happens to Kowloon. You know, I don't know. I just get that feeling. We'll see. You know what? Like I said, I'll wait for another, like maybe another one of this, a scene like this where we'll see where Kudo gets suddenly emotionally disturbed, and I'll see if like something crazy like this happens. If something like this happens again, I'm pretty confirmed then. Like, yeah, he has something, like, he has a higher rate of resonating power with, he's resonating with Kowloon at a higher rate. That's why this is happening. Again, these are all hypotheses, like speculations. Maybe something else is going on. Who knows? We'll see. But a lot of questions gets answered today. So you know what? A lot of the things make sense now. Like, now that they explain what the hell is going on, So basically, the biggest thing is that Hebinuma, like Miyuki's father, is trying to bring back his son. Now, I was under the impression that this Miyuki replaced, the other Miyuki, because the servants were talking about that. If you remember, like, oh, like, the young boy suddenly changed his personality, like as if it's a completely different person. All these things. So at the end of the previous episode, I came to the conclusion that, yeah, Miyuki replaced the original son here, and something like that, I thought. And I was also like Gwen was also from maybe the same world that this Miyuki was from. Like, I was actually thinking about like some parallel world or something. And that's why he came here, and and he recognizes this version of me. All those things I thought. So yeah, but now it's pretty clear that no, it's not that Miyuki replaced the son. What I think, they haven't made this clear, but I'm pretty sure this is what happened. The guy Hebinuma's, like, like the owner, that good dude, Miyuki's father. Miyuki's father lost his child. He lost his child with, like, he obviously he grieved a lot. He grieved so much that he decided to probably do this whole zirconia, like, this whole thing that is going on, this cloning thing that is going on, and he made a different version of Miyuki, which is this Miyuki. And then, okay, another thing I just realized, Miyuki and Reiko's situations are very similar, right? Because this Reiko came here after the other Reiko died. Same with this Miyuki as well. He didn't replace or override anyone. He did replace Miyuki, but Miyuki died. The original Miyuki died, so he. Now again, like I said, I'm just speculating here. They haven't really explicitly said that, oh, like, Miyuki, the original Miyuki died, and the Miyuki's father made a clone, and like this clone, they haven't really explained that, but that's what I think happened. And then the father, like, told him that this whole genetera, like, which we still don't know what exactly this whole, like, research, this project is, but from what we could understand, they are taking their vessels and they're trying to resurrect someone. So I'm assuming this Miyuki is supposed to be the vessel for the original Miyuki that they, like, his father plans on putting in him. And no, wait a minute. No, never mind. No, that's not the case. I don't think so. Because this Hebinuma Miyuki said later on that he plans on making, like, in a vessel, he plans on resurrecting the old Miyuki, but he won't have any memories. So no, he's not the vessel. Never mind. Scratch that off. Um, he's just supposed to be like a copy who is going to be bringing the original Miyuki back. You know, that is what he's supposed to be. And his father, I think, like, made this version of Miyuki because he was like, yeah, I want my son back. So, he made this and he gave him the order to take care of this whole Generatora project and bring it to success. And in a vessel, bring the original Miyuki back with all the memories and everything. So, and that is why you could say Hebnuma was very interested in Kujirai, because Kujirai's situation is very similar to, like a dead person coming back. Because, whatever you say, bringing a dead person back with their memories is kind of impossible. That's literally in the realm of gods you're treading into. Like, in no way. Like, we've seen in so many shows what happens when you try to resurrect people. Full Metal Alchemist, bruh. So that's what happens. It's not. So it's something that's crazy. So that is why when Hebinuma found someone like Reiko, who he realized that this girl, she died, but she's come back again. It's like literally bringing someone back to life. He suddenly got excited, not because he would be able to bring back the original Hebinuma, not because of that. He became excited because he was like, yeah, I'll finally be able to do this and make sure that he won't have any memories. I'll make sure he won't have any memories, and I'll be able to take revenge on my father. That is what he's trying to do. So the reason why he was excited to seeing Reiko is not because he was like, oh, finally I'll be able to complete my project. He was so excited because he was like, yeah, finally I'll be able to complete my project with a little bit of tweaking. A little bit of things here and there I'll change and make sure he doesn't have his memories so that I can take my revenge on my father. That is why he was excited, I think. So okay, this whole thing brings a lot of things, like that one, like thing that he said, like, brought a lot of things into sense, and I was like, okay, everything makes sense now. Also later on, what was his name, Yulong or something, I forgot his name. The guy, the new guy, he also gives us a lot of information. So the biggest information that he gives us is how this whole resonation thing. So Kowloon was destroyed, but somehow, because of the Generatora that is there on top of Hong Kong, Kowloon somehow resonated with something, and it made like a new Kowloon, which is not actually real. It's like, I don't know what it is, like some sort of simulation maybe, whatever it is. But the big thing here is not everyone can see that Kowloon. So I'm assuming Generatora is resonating with something to make Kowloon, and Kowloon is resonating with the other people who love Kowloon so much, who like something is making them resonate with this version, with Kowloon, so that they can see this Kowloon, even though there's a lot of people who cannot. Now, you know what? I'm going to make a guess here. I know what Generatora is resonating with. It's Kudo. I think, because literally in the beginning of today's episode I said something is special about Kudo. Whenever his emotions gets like disturbed, something happens to Kowloon every single time. That day when he couldn't sleep, Reiko saw there were earthquakes. The next day when you can see like Kudo was having this nightmare and he suddenly woke up, earthquake, immediately earthquake was happening. Today, when Reiko said something like that I'll leave, Kudo again, something happened, shifted in him, inside of him. So that whole explosion happened. I think that's what's going on. So let me say this. I'm going to say this. I feel like there's a high possibility that I'm correct. Generatora is resonating with Kudo because Kudo lost Kujirai and he grieved for her, and it is such a high degree. And his love for Kujirai and Kujirai's love for Kowloon got mixed up, and his longing for going back to the days was so high that Generatora made a Kowloon. made a second Kowloon, which a lot of other people started resonating with, who wants to go back to Kowloon as well, because Kowloon was demolished, you know. And for them, it's as if Kowloon never got destroyed. And everyone here says, in one of the previous episodes it was revealed, everyone here says that, oh yeah, Kowloon was demolished, but then the people brought it back up again. There's no explanation as to how people like rebuilt it. Everyone is like, yeah, they rebuilt it, but no, it was never rebuilt. You know, this is a simulation that is going on. You know what? Things are actually making sense. If you think about it like this, everything will make sense. Because yeah, another big proof as to why this is possible is that the Kowloon wasn't demolished. When we saw the flashback, they were reading the newspaper article of Kowloon. You know, Kowloon is going to be destroyed. You saw that? And that's why Kudo was like, oh, I wonder what we will do, you know, this and that. And yeah, that whole section. So Kowloon wasn't destroyed then. So this is what I think happened. Here we go. I'm gonna, like, obviously a lot of these things are like, you know, like theories that I'm making. I might be wrong, but this is what I think happened. Kudo came to this Kowloon when Kowloon was a normal city, you know, like as we saw, and met Reiko. He started liking Reiko. Reiko, obviously all that stuff happened. Now, I still don't know about what's going on with Reiko, because there was a lot of sections where Reiko was hinting something about something happening to her. Don't know exactly what. Unless until we get to know how Reiko died, I won't be able to put the pieces together. So we'll keep that at a corner for now. Don't know what exactly happened to Reiko, but you know, like Kudo started liking Reiko, this and that. They got engaged. That little picture, you know, like Mark took that picture. All that happened. Then, now I don't know exactly how the chronologically it goes, but either Reiko died first and then Kowloon got demolished, or Kowloon got demolished and then Reiko died, or maybe both happened at the same time. I don't know exactly what happened, but it's somehow something like this happened. Whatever way it happened, it doesn't matter. The main thing is Reiko died, Kowloon also got demolished. Now Kowloon has been demolished, you know. Kudo, because he loved Reiko so much, and Reiko loved like Kowloon city so much, you know, all of that thing like started going like, you know, like kind of mixed up together. And because of his grief for Reiko's passing away, like he like longed for those days so much, and probably at such a high degree, that Genetera, who keeps the memories of other people, somehow resonated with him and like gave his wish. Like it fulfilled his wish of going back to the days of Kowloon, and it made a second version of Kowloon. It doesn't end there. Other people who also have a longing for Kowloon or something in their life, you know, like something that resonated, they started resonating with this Kowloon, and then they started thinking like, oh, Kowloon was destroyed, but we built it back up. So now they're the only ones who can see Kowloon, while a lot of other people cannot see it. Yeah. So this is what happened. This is what I think happened. I think this is just a theory. I might be wrong, but I feel like a lot of the things that I'm saying here might actually be correct. I'm just going to say this here, and I'm going to wait and see if this is exactly what happened, because everything fits perfectly if you think about it like this. You know, today's episode gave us a whole lot of clues, a whole lot of puzzle pieces that actually fit properly if you arrange them like this. We still don't have a lot of answers. Like I said, I don't know what happened with Reiko, how Reiko died, or when Reiko died, but it is pretty sure when Reiko died, Kowloon was also destroyed. Like either one of it happened before or after, something like that. You know, so you know, Reiko's like mystery is still there. I think we need to get to know it from Gwen or someone else. You know, like what exactly happened. But yeah, but I think Kudo's the one who Kowloon is resonating with, and that is why Kudo's emotions are directly connected to Kowloon. Whenever his emotions are in like in disarray, Kowloon is also somehow getting changed. Like earthquakes are happening, something weird stuff is going on. You know, so that's why. Today's episode was, again, we got to see that when Kujirai said, I'm going to leave, he suddenly, like, you know, got agitated, and then suddenly that explosion happened, or whatever that was. I don't know what that is. We'll see next episode. And yeah, and other people are resonating with Kowloon. Now there's another thing that we have to talk about here. what is the criteria for people resonating with Kowloon? One thing you can see is that I think, as we see, Yulong kind of said that it doesn't matter. People who don't know about Kowloon is also resonating with Kowloon. So knowing Kowloon is not really a criteria here, because I also know Kowloon, but I don't resonate with it. I cannot see Kowloon. You, however, you and Gwen can see it, which is a bit kind of crazy. Why am I not able to see it? Why can you see it? Why is Yame, who never knew anything about Kowloon, probably, excuse me, know about Kowloon? Because Gwen kind of double checked with Yame. He asked that, oh, did you know about Kowloon before? He's like, no, I didn't know about it. So yeah, she had no idea about Kowloon, but she resonated with it. So what the hell is that criteria? I think that criteria is this whole absolute self they're talking about. I think it's something with that, because every person who's resonating with Kowloon probably has some kind of, what, maybe it's not constant. Like, I'm just thinking that maybe there's like a common reason why everyone's maybe there's different reasons why different people are resonating with Kowloon. For example, Yame wanted to run away from her past and go to a place where nobody will know her past self, and he can be her new self, kind of like this Kowloon, like, which is like a new thing. It's not real, but at the same time it's real. So maybe that's what he resonated with, why she resonated with Kowloon. She wanted to find her new self, her absolute self, her real self. So maybe that's why, something like that. Who else? Miyuki. Why does Miyuki resonate with this Kowloon? Maybe it's because, let me think. What could it be? Why does Miyuki resonate with this Kowloon? Oh, yeah. Like, Gwen said something when he was talking to Yame, when Yame was talking about, like, oh, my own, like, wish, my own, like, like, decision, my absolute self. Gwen kind of said that, oh yeah, what she says does kind of remind me of Miyuki. So yeah, Miyuki's whole, like, I won't be a puppet for my father, I'll do what I want with my life. That is like maybe the thing that also made him resonate with this Kowloon. I don't know, I feel like it's something like that. Gwen, why does Gwen resonate with Kowloon? You know what, I feel like we don't have much information about a lot of these people to properly make guesses as to what is making them resonate with Kowloon. But one thing is pretty damn obvious. Kudo is resonating with Kowloon, and Kudo is I think, like, the main, like, reason why Kowloon made this second Kowloon is Kudo, because of the grief of losing Kujirai, like, and wanting to go back to the days where Kujirai was alive. Something like that. Kowloon resonated with him and made this Kowloon again, where he could go back to the days. So that, I think, I'm pretty correct about. But all the other people, I'm not exactly sure what is making them resonate with them. But I feel like a different person has a different reason for resonating with Kowloon. For example, Yao wanted to leave her past self behind. Maybe something like that is making her resonate with Kowloon. Miyuki with his own problems. Gwen maybe like stuff with Miyuki, something like that. Maybe that's making him resonate with Kowloon. Who else? Don't know about Zhao. I'm not really sure. We barely know anything about her. Like, we just saw her once or twice. So I think we need more information about her to properly get to know why she's resonating with Kowloon. And all the other different people you can see on the street, like walking about and everything, they're also resonating with Kowloon because of some reason, maybe. Maybe they love Kowloon too much. Maybe they also want to go back to the days, just like Kudo. That's why they're resonating with this, and they're seeing it. They're seeing it because they want to see it. There's a lot of other people are not seeing it because they don't have any particular reason they want to see it. Something like that. It's kind of like, like, sometimes, like, clouds, like, when you look at the clouds, sometimes you're like, oh, that cloud looks like a cat, or that cloud looks like a, I don't know, like something, some monster, some dinosaur or something. Like, you see it because you want to see it. Something like that. Like, it's like, yeah, that's why Kowloon is resonating with these people, because they want to see this Kowloon. They want to go back or something like that. Okay. Right, that is what I think about today's episode. These are all the clues that we have gotten up until now. Today's episode, I feel like, gave us the maximum amount of clue, with no cliffhanger. Kind of, I guess the final section was a kind of a cliffhanger. Um, but I feel like a lot of things can be figured out from this, and this is what I thought, and this is like the little conclusion that I came to. I might be wrong about a lot of these things, but I have confidence. I feel like there's a lot of the things that I said are probably correct. Let's wait and see. Especially, I have high expectation with my Kudo theory that Kowloon like resonated with Kudo and made this second Kowloon because because Kudo lost Kujirai and he wished to go back, and other people are resonating with Kowloon now. Like, I'm pretty confident in this theory. I don't know. I might be completely wrong, but let's wait and see. Because it fits so well. Can you not see it? This whole like thing fits so damn well with this. It's like exactly the missing puzzle piece that was missing that exactly fits there. Like, So yeah, I'm pretty confident in this. But so let's see. Let's wait and see. Anyways, that was today's episode basically. I was just talking about today's episode. I haven't really discussed anything. Okay, I'm just going to quickly. I've been talking a lot. I'm just going to quickly, talk about today's episode. No scene by scene discussion because I think today's episode is just going to get too damn long. Otherwise, my video. So let me just talk about today's episode. The important things. I've talked most of the important stuff. What I think about the whole situation. But just let me see if there's anything else. So the first part was basically Hebinwa going to his father and his father talking about the Zirconian project and the Genetera project as well. And that part was fun. He had a transparent because he's a germaphobe, and he probably doesn't even like his father that much. That's why he doesn't want to touch him like directly. Um, right. But anyways, um, okay, so yeah, that whole section, and then later on, he tells Gwen to go away, and then Gwen was like, "What the hell is this?" Like, and obviously, I could see that Miyuki was doing that because I feel like what triggered this response is when his father says like, "Oh, I heard you have a pet" or something like that. He says, "Where's that part?" Okay, another interesting few things that his father said. He said it doesn't have to be zirconians. You've already secured vessels for Orthodox clones. I don't exactly know what this means, but let's wait and see. We don't really have that much information on this project that they're having, but it's pretty obvious what they're trying to do. They're trying to bring back the sun, so they need like a vessel and want to, something like that. Like, say they need Genetera for the memories and everything, and they need like a clone, like a vessel, and that's why he said it doesn't need to be zirconian. You've secured vessels for Orthodox clones, which I don't know exactly what that means, but yeah, I don't know, something. Okay, yeah, there's a dog that you've kept, or something like that. He says, "Where's that part?" Um, I heard you have a new pet dog. Now, the reason why I think he told Miyuki to go away is because I feel obviously like he doesn't want not Miyuki, sorry, god damn it, what's his name? Gwen. It's because as he says later on, I don't want you to get involved in. He doesn't want him to get involved in his family nonsense, basically. You know, like as you can see, Gwen was like, "Oh no, I'm going to go with you. It doesn't matter. Like what you say." What is that exact word that he used? Um, just a minute. Oh, choose me. I'll follow you no matter where you go, and I'll take you wherever you want to go. Um, you shouldn't promise something like that. You'll never be able to free to go anywhere. Yeah, so he says that, oh, I like staying with you is what I want, it's freedom. But then Miyuki was like, oh no, if you get involved with me, like you will be the last thing from being free. Because he himself is involved in this whole family nonsense, like with his whole thing. He wants revenge and all that. He's shackled to his Miyuki. He's shackled to his own situation. Like, yeah, so he knows that staying with him is going to make Gwen also get involved in this nonsense, and he will be, like, involving him in his, like his stuff. And I don't know, it's just going to bind him down, basically. So he's like, oh, if you'll be the last thing from being free if you get involved with me. That's why I'm giving you the way out now. Yeah. So obviously that is the reason why, and he's doing this. And also, like I said, I don't know. I feel like he just doesn't want to do something that his father, because his father is basically treating him like a guinea pig, like, Miyuki, this Miyuki, like a expendable, like, like an object, like an expendable object, literally treating him like that. So when he said, like, oh, I heard you've kept a pet dog, I feel like he thought that what he's doing to Gwen is also something similar to his father, which is obviously not the case, you know. But I feel like he kind of thought that, and that's why he thought that, oh, you know what, yeah, let him go on his own way. I'm not going to bind him down to me, to, like, yeah, all these things. Anyways, but obviously Gwen wasn't happy about it. He's like bit him in the mouth, and he's like, oh, pain would be, you remember pain more, right? Just left. Okay, so yeah, that's what happened. So that's the first section. Now then the next part is where we get to know more about Kujirai Reiko B. You know, Kujirai Reiko B is a very interesting character. You can see, she talks about how she doesn't want to read like a mystery novel, because she's like, oh, now is the best time to stop. If I read the sequel and I get disappointed, yeah, that's, I don't want that. I want to keep it the same way that I feel now, while Kudo is completely the opposite. He's like, oh, I don't regret things even when I lose. Like, I try new things, and and that's why Kujirai say, oh, that's why I like you so much, because obviously you could see, like, people long for the thing that they don't have. So this is probably a quality that she knows that she doesn't have. As she says, like, I'd rather keep it the same than expect something from the future and get disappointed. While Kudo's like, oh no, I expect something from the future and I don't regret things when I lose. So Kujirai probably respects that, and this quality of Kudo, Kujirai likes that so much because she herself doesn't have it. So yeah, and it's very surprising because, like I said, a person who says stuff like this, that, oh, I would rather keep it the same than expect something from the future and get bound to it and all these things, like Kujirai is a more free type of a character. She's like very free. She's just yeah, like, but there's a lot of things that she, as she says, she's not really free, I guess you could say, because she's just finding herself. No, you know what, scratch that. She's not really free if you think about it. Kujirai is more of the type of person who binds herself to a certain position because she thinks this is, that's what we saw, right? While Kudo is more free, I guess you could say. But then, someone like this, in no way do I see that person getting engaged, because getting engaged and getting married is literally the opposite of keeping things the same, right? If you want to keep things the same, you'd rather not commit to something in the future. The fact that she got engaged, and like getting engaged, getting like hopes of getting married, it's like a wish for the future. It's like a hope for the future, which is the last thing that she said that she's going to do, because she'd rather make hopes about the future and get disappointed. But she got engaged, so obviously I'm guessing Kudo probably changed her outlook on life. But yeah, but I still think there's something still going on. I feel like she had some kind of an inkling as to what's going to happen to her. Maybe this is what I'm saying. Maybe she was like some kind of a test subject for this whole janitor, this whole thing that is going on, or something. I don't know, because there was a section where in this episode where she said that I don't have a future or something like that. She said, where's that part? My story is not going to end, nor will it continue. So there you go. So yeah, she knows something, and that is probably the reason why she doesn't expect something from the future, because maybe her future has already been set, and she's just accepted it. That's why she's like, oh, like, yeah, I would rather keep it the same than expect something from the future and get disappointed. But Kudo probably came to her life and changed her, and that is why at the end you can see she got engaged to him. Because getting engaged is like the last thing someone would do when they talk about keeping things the same, right? Okay. Anyways, like I said, we still have a lot of like questions about Reiko, how Reiko died. So unless until we get to know how she died, we'll keep this at the corner. We'll keep it in mind, but we don't have a proper explanation to this. Okay, then we get to see Gwen again coming back, and Gwen gave his name to Yame. So like then Kujirai comes in, and Kujirai asks a lot of questions to Gwen, and and Gwen says like, "Oh, you've changed. This Kujirai, you are changed from the previous Kujirai that I saw." Like, and you can see Gwen appreciates that. Gwen likes this version of Kujirai more, and that's why he was like a lot more chatty this time. He talked a lot of like different things, and he confirms that this Kujirai is different from the other Kujirai. He confirms that this Gwen is different from the other Gwen, and at the same time he also like was going to talk about how Kujirai died, but then they get interrupted. He talks to Yame, keeps talking to Yame, and gets a few things confirmed. Yame didn't know about Kowloon before, and she talks about coming, and he also confirms that she is like the whole situation with plastic surgery and all that, so, and he was like, did something happen? And now they reveal something here that I didn't understand in the previous episode. So she literally changed back to her former self. I thought there was some symbolism or something. No, she actually changed. And then she's like, oh, then Reiko came and gave me like, made me understand what I am, what my absolute self should be, and I'm back now. So that is a thing that happened. Like, that is like some interesting thing that happened. So Yame is not really similar to the other people here who have like a different version, but at the same time, she also has two versions of her. And she has accepted one version here, and her absolute self, as she calls it, as Reiko calls it. And after getting to know all of that, Gwen understands a lot of things. Gwen also kind of relates her to Miyuki, kind of compares them. He's like, yeah, maybe Miyuki also looks at life like you, doesn't want to get his life being like controlled by someone else. Same thing that Yame did. Yeah. Anyways, then after that, that was the end. Then we get to see Reiko eating cup noodles, and and Kudo says something about like, oh, you are like you're very happy now suddenly, and she's like, oh, I'm loving life now, this and that, yeah. And that was that. And then we again have Miyuki. Oh, another thing we got to know, Miyuki has both genitalias, male and female, which we didn't know up until now, I guess. Anyways, he talks about like getting pregnant, and but the doctor was like, it won't work like that. And then they talk about the Genitera project. We can see how the doctor is not happy with the Genitera project. And then we get to meet this guy, Yulong, right? Something like that. Yulong, right? Yulong, yeah. So Yulong here like gives us a lot of information. So this part. Your dad wants to restore his dead son. He believes this will be possible by Genitera memory backup function. Yeah, there you go. You have no interest in helping him do that. I'll simply restore his son without any memories, kicking him down when he's like that whole section, you can see. Doing this for revenge. As we get to know, it's like, it's entertaining, I won't interfere. And then he says, that place has dead people living there just as they used to be. That's exactly what we're trying to create. There you go. That's why he was so interested in Reiko, the Zirconian. It's not just who have passed. They replicated the second walled city of Kowloon that no longer exists. Oh, so they're saying that there are other people like Reiko there as well who just got replicated. Oh, so maybe there's a lot of people here who doesn't even exist. God damn. I just realized that. Maybe like Kowloon generated them as well. Like, last thing we know, maybe we'll get to know in the end that all the people that are living here are like fakes. Oh my god, that'll be crazy. Except like the main cast. That'll be crazy. And this replicated the second Kowloon city as well. Need to know how that works before we move forward. Okay. Some can see restored Kowloon, others cannot. Okay, I'm going to skip here and I'm going to go to the section where Yulong talks about his hypothesis. Okay, he talks about Yao Mei and all that, and then he's like, he confirms that she didn't live there in Kowloon. She had no idea about Kowloon. Okay. Alright, here we go. Hong Kong is a place attracts incredibly strong energies, and Kowloon's share of it is massive. If you make something like generic terror right over Hong Kong, natural things will be affected. Okay. He talks about Feng Shui. Okay, all that. Okay, here we go. Here's my hypothesis. Genetera disturbed the flow of energy, resonated with something. Like I said, my theory is this something is Kudo, because Kudo wanted to go back to the days so much because of losing Kujirai. Genetera resonated with Kudo. Let's just think about it like that. Materialized an illusion of second Kudo, which would make sense because he wants to go back to the days when Kujirai was alive. So it would make sense. Kudo fits like a puzzle piece in that something. That's why I'm so confident in this. And only those who resonate with it can see it. There you go. So Genetera, let's just say, Genetera resonated with Kudo, made a second Kowloon city. Other people who resonated with the Kowloon city can see it, including Kudo as well. There's a lot of hints, like I said, because that is probably the reason why whenever Kudo gets disarray, like his emotions gets, something happens to him. Because he's the main base of Genetera making Kowloon. If something happens to him, Kowloon also kind of, it's like he's literally like the the raw materials for making Kowloon. So something happens to the raw materials that made this Kowloon also gets affected. Okay, he said I don't know what they resonated with it. Anyways, so there you go. It's like a lot of possibilities and all that. Yeah, so there you go. That was that whole section. So in the end, Yulong also says is fearing for the fact that Nuki might also get swept up in Kowloon. So he's like, you should also be very careful. And that was that. And then in the end, we have that section where Kudo brings Kujirai to the cup ramen place, and he's like, oh, there's so many flavors here, but she's like, oh, these are just like cup noodles. But then she talks about traveling, and and she's like, you can see like a section comes where she just reveals everything. She was like, yeah, I want to travel, go somewhere else, maybe settle somewhere else. And Kudo's like, why? And then she just starts saying, she's like, oh, because I feel like you won't be able to move away, move on from me, because like she can see that Kudo's just fixated on the other Kujirai, and she thinks that even though she likes Kudo, she thinks that she's being bad for him and she'll never be able to move on. So even if she loves him, she would rather want to make him happy and move on from this. That's why she's like, oh, I'd rather leave. And she actually says all of that. And after she says all of that, Kudo's like, oh, don't go anywhere, stay with me forever, or something like that, she says. And then he's like, oh, okay. And then that whole experience, like I said, emotional, disturbance. So something happened. Like this whole explosion happens, and he's like, oh, let me go and see what happened. So, next episode we'll probably see what happened with that explosion thing. Okay. Right. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about here is like I said, as you can see, this Kujirai is so different from the other Kujirai, but I feel like it's connected because, you can say something like, maybe the other Kujirai wanted to be someone like this. You could see Kudo did kind of change, otherwise she would never have gotten engaged with Kudo, right? So her personality was very different. She would rather keep it the same, but maybe she started changing, but then obviously she passed away after that. And this Kujirai is maybe the changed version of the other Kujirai. You can think of it like that, I feel like. Not necessarily that these two people, their personality are completely different. If we're seeing their personality is completely different, but that might be just the personality that she had underneath all of the other, thing. Because she was definitely being affected by something. Something was bothering her. That is why she was saying, I'd rather expect something from the future, and get disappointed, and I'd rather just stay in my current status quo. Maybe the fact that she got engaged with Kudo kind of shows that maybe she changed her mind at the end, and her whole way of looking at the world started changing, and now this Kujirai is just that perfect version of her, the absolute self. That could be it. Like, not necessarily these two people's personality are different. Maybe it's the same. Maybe it's the process of changing. You know, like, yeah, like something like that. And I guess if you think about it like that, maybe all the people here in Kowloon who has like a second version of them, maybe it's like a process of growing up. Like, for example, Gwen. This Gwen says like, "Oh, I'm the real one," but maybe the other Gwen that we saw in the bar doing bartending and everything, maybe he's like the absolute self of this Gwen. This Gwen has a lot of questions that is bothering her. Maybe that Gwen was the person who was content with his life, like a process of growing up, something like that. This Kujirai is the absolute self of the other Kujirai, a process of growing up and understanding what is important and everything. And this is the perfect version. Who knows? You know, like, yeah, maybe in the end it'll all be flipped and we'll realize that this is the true version of the Kujirai that we saw. Because, like, real, fake, you cannot really say that with human beings because people change. You cannot say that, oh, 10 years ago the person that I was a fake version of. That was still you. So this whole real fake thing, maybe at the end they'll tell us, they'll show it as if like, yeah, this is just a process of growing up. Nobody's real, nobody's fake. It's the same person, but it's just that the different stages of their lives, and different like it's like basically the process of people like finding themselves and reaching their absolute selves. Anyways, like all these things, this is what I think about to this episode. I might be wrong about a few things, but I have pretty good confidence with my whole Kudo theory about Kudo being the one or being the something that Genetera resonated with. Let's see. That is it. That was my reaction to episode number 6 of Kowloon Generic Romance. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to press the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel or you haven't subscribed, comment down below anything you want to say, anything you want to let me know, I'll check them out. That is it, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week with another episode of Kowloon Generic Romance. Until then, goodbye and have a nice day.